I think we're live. Check it in. Lisa here. It's in Colorado. Let's see. I don't know who's new, who's just checking in right now. See me, make sure you comment, give me a thumbs up, let me know you're here. We got people checking in from all over the place. Be excited. Hopefully, I've gotten the impression that you guys like when I do these live things, and hopefully Monday night works for you, because it kind of works for me. Good. Hello, Jessica. How are you? Glad you're checking in. So, Shanna and Chris. Oh, your sound is a bit dodgy. Uh-oh. Buffering. Well, I hopefully I figured it out on my end, so I don't have anything odd going on here. Turned off. Just remind me, I need to turn off my phone. Put it in airplane mode. So, Nebraska. Oh, Nancy. Hey, how are you? Oh, I don't wonder what the weather's going to do to you. Our storm has kind of gone from 3 to 5 inches down to 0 to 3 inches. So who knows what I'm going to wake up to in the morning. Norma from Mississippi checked in. Karen, your sound is on 97, like KKFM. Hi, Mary Gail. How are you? Nancy from Chicago. Jan from the Kansas City class. That was a fun class. Ginger from wet and snowy southwest Colorado. Oh, they got snow in the southwest. Hey, Barbara, how are you? Glad you're checking in. Oh, looks like we got people joining us. No, it's all exciting. Yeah, it went from, hey, Sandy, I'm at a faint distance. Oh, is my sound great? Maybe I need to turn up my volume. You're in a faint distance? I don't know. It looks like it's coming through on my side. Hey, Diana from Connecticut. Mine is showing it's okay. Fran, hopefully. I don't know. Maybe I do this. What happens that way? I don't know what that does. You make me push buttons, and we never know what's going to happen when I push buttons. Sound is good for Nancy. I don't know. Jessica. Wait. Oh, hey. How you doing, Shaw? Glad you could check in. Wow, that sounded like chicken. Not chicken. Oh, it's been a crazy day. Okay, so sounds better. I moved the slider up a little bit. We'll see how that works. Sound is bad for me. Got it turned up all the way. Well, some people say sound is good. Sound is better, maybe. I don't know. I haven't changed anything since the other day, so I'm just not. I don't know what's going on. I don't know, guys. Is that better? Maybe? I don't know what these numbers do. Well, Barbara says it sounds okay. When you start mucking around with dials and stuff, things all of a sudden it's going to go black, and we don't want that to happen. So maybe I'll just talk loud. Then poor other people are going to be blasted out. Anyway. Thank you for checking in, everybody. I can't tell how many people are on the live video right now, but we had over almost 275 people say that they wanted to watch it. So now, granted, you can choose to watch it and come in for the replay later. That helps you get it on your timeline. So keep talking loud. Okay, poor dogs are scared. The dogs are not going to worry. Not going to come into the sewing room, because when I talk loud, it's usually not a place to be. Anyway. So glad it's working out. Glad it's fine. So, what was I going to do today? Oh, we're talking about resizing designs. Can't get off track saying hello to everybody, so I will try and keep an eye on it. But unlike when I do the ones in the Embrilliance channel, I'm the only one that has to pay attention here. Erica's doing the ones on the Embrilliance channel with me, but when I do it myself, it's just me. So, we'll see how this goes. So, some of you, I think I'm going to see in a couple of days. I fly out tomorrow morning, which is why I'm kind of concerned about the weather, because I'm flying to Kentucky tomorrow. So going to the Everything Embroidery Market, and that's taking place in Owensboro. And we have our pre-show classes the day after, and then the 2 days of the show. So it's 3 days, boom, 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 and then I fly back here. So it's going to be a kind of a whirlwind, but that's where I'm headed to tomorrow. So I thought, well, we'll still try and do the live tonight. And I get back on Saturday, so I'll do another one on Monday, but I'm not going to tell you what it is yet. But today's is on resizing. Now, resizing is done in Essentials, okay? That's why when people usually say about where they should start as far as the programs go, Essentials is I don't call it the base program because you don't have to start at any specific program, but if you want to resize your designs, making them bigger or smaller, that is one of the many essentials functions, one of the essential things that we do every single day. So you can resize in the other programs, but there's no stitch processor. So the number of stitches don't change. Now, why is that a specific point to make note of? If you don't have a stitch processor, and way back when, in the dark days, when I first started embroidery, there was no stitch resizing. There was barely any software, so there was no way to resize a design. And when they did have resizing, basically it took the same size of the design and you made it bigger, and it's still the same number of stitches, just bigger. So they said 20%. And if you made it smaller, it's still at the same number of stitches. So again, they said you can possibly shrink it 10 to 20%. So when you see people toss around that number of 20%, that's where it came from. That's its roots, in that we had no stitch processor. Now, in software that does have a stitch processor, and that is the Essentials program, they say, and I've done it successfully, I'm going to show you in a second, that you could take a design and make it up to 250% larger and 50% smaller. Now, can you do that with every single design? Obviously not. And you don't do it with anything that's been auto-digitized. That's just a no-no, because that's not how auto-digitizing software works. So if you know someone that sells designs that's auto-digitizing them, you buy them at the size they are at and you stitch them at the size they're at. You don't want to resize those because it's just not going to work right, because this is for designs. Resizing is for designs that were digitized nicely. And here's a lovely example. This is a design from the Brother website. See his tulips? And it's about 5 by 7. And I took it into Essentials, and that's 12 inches tall. 5 by 7, 12 inches tall. A little bit bigger than 20%. Okay? This is a beautifully digitized design, and I highly recommend everybody go download this design. It is an old design, but it is so beautifully and so well digitized that it can withstand the resizing. I mean, look at the shimmer, the layering, and this is stitched on linen. Okay? Now that's the other thing that you need to pay attention to when you are resizing designs and stitching them on something else. Was this auto-digitized? Or what is auto-digitized? That is when you take a graphic into a program that has this function that goes click, poof, you have stitches, and you don't have to do anything manual. You don't have to set any inclinations. It just digitizes it for you. It converts it. Okay, when you see people say they want to convert a graphic to a stitch file, that's what auto-digitizing is. And Embrilliance doesn't sell an auto-digitizer at this time because usually the results are not that great. They're, can I supply the link to? I didn't copy the link, but I will try and get it. It's on the Brother website. So if you go to Brother USA and you go to the florals, and don't do it now because then you're going to miss my whole webinar. But it's on the Brother website under the free designs, and it's in the florals, and this is their tulip. And like I said, this is a 5 by 7, and this was manually punched. This means someone actually set the angles, the stitch length, the feathering. How do you know if it's auto-digitized? Well, that's a whole other webinar. That's part of the classes that I teach. Maybe I'll see if I can do a session on that. But there are some telltale signs that you can do. Someone that gives you, Pam, you were in my class. You got to go through those notes that you were taking. Sorry, I didn't mean to call you out, Pam, but I saw you wrote that. How do you know something's auto-digitized? If someone gives you a free design every single day, I'd probably bet they're not digitizing it manually, simply because it takes a while to digitize. So in order for me to give you something free every day, that's a lot. I mean, I bet this took a lot. This took a lot to digitize. Let's turn it the right direction, okay? But this is on the Brother website. This is a free design. Okay. Let's see. Where do we go? This is the 12-inch one. Okay. I'm going to open up this design and show you exactly how I made it this large. But this is the type of a design, something that is a digitizer that you've worked with before. Okay. You're going to have to do a test cell. All this information in my head, sorry that I can't just give it to you, because everything I learned about working with embroidery designs, I did test sews. And once you do a test sew, then open the design back up again and look at it. And once you look at it, you're like, oh. So the next time you open a design and you look at it, you can say, oh, I could resize that one. Or, oh, I better not because it came out like you. I mean, we all make those mistakes, but that's how you learn. And even just by looking at the design, and I look at every single design before I do anything with it. It's always is opening up in my Essential software. Even if I don't do anything with it, if it's just something I'm going to stitch on the machine, I will open it in my software. I will turn off my 3D stitches. I will run my sew simulator. I look at it so I have an idea. I can plan my colors, and then I stitch it. Okay, so I don't test sew every single design, but that's because I have this knowledge that I've built up. Okay, once you get to that point, you don't have to test sew every design, but you just put me on your TV. Okay. Well, we're not going to go there. I'm just imagining me doing this on a big screen TV. Yikes. All right. Anyway, so let me go switch over to the software part so that you can actually see me open this design and do something with it. So let's see. How do we do that again? All right. Well, we're going a little more seamless. I'm still showing in the corner. I'm a TV star. I'm a TV something or other. I'll have to tell you about the swine flu lady one day. It all has to do with my first trip, or one of my many trips to Australia, going to the Echidna convention. I was known as a swine flu lady because I was on TV. All right, let's see. Here's my Embrilliance window, and I'm going to open up the design that I already have set up. And where are they? Did I do it? Tulips, boom. Open. Okay. These are my 3 designs from the Brother website. Design number 1, 2, and 3, and I've just layered them up, creating my design for them. Now, if you notice, I have it set to my 130 by 180 hoop, which is my 5x7. So that's my layout, and it's approximately that's about my 5x7 Brother hoop. Okay, so I'm going to just go to my preferences, because I'm going to stitch this out my 8x12 hoop, I think. And that was 200 by 300. Let me click apply, click OK. Oh, and it's rotated. Now, if you've watched quick tip video number 1, you know the shortcut is by double clicking on the word hoop here on the bottom of my screen, and it automatically rotates my hoop. Okay. Yes. So Michelle opens questionable designs and Embrilliance every time just to check out what's going on. Yes, I open up good designs. That's a great way to learn how to digitize, is opening up well-digitized designs. But new digitizers that I've never heard of and I just want to see what it's up, that's a great way of doing it, opening it up. All right, so I have my design now in my 8x12 hoop. Easiest way for me to enlarge this to fit the hoop is by clicking on the Fit to Hoop button. And it automatically makes it as large as possible, but it also puts a little bit of a border around it. And what I mean by border is that it has a margin. When you load a design to your machine, you have onboard editing that lets you go a little bit to the left, right, up, and down. Well, if the software made it as big as the hoop, there'd be no way to do any adjustments. Now, if you're hooping flat fabric, like I was doing with this, my placemat here, it was just I was hooping it in the center and stitching it out, nothing that had to be moved or adjusted anywhere because I hooped square. What you can do now is select all of it, Command A, and where you have your sizing here at the top, this allows you to type in the exact size that you want it to be. So the tallest it can be, let me try 300, boom. And it made it just a little bit too big because it rounds it up. So we'll go 299. Did I write 229? Great job, Lise. And that, because it has my ratio locked, it has made it the biggest that it can be as far as width goes. Okay, so there's a couple different ways of resizing. My favorite, usually what I want to do is just take a design and fit it to the hoop. So clicking in the fit to hoop button is super duper easy. Now you can always resize your design by clicking on one of the handles in the corner or on the top and just dragging it in and winging it. Okay, that's one way of resizing your design. The other way, as I showed here, is if I type in 299, that makes it as large as possible. Now I'm going to center it in my hoop, and that resizes it. Now, if you notice, I am taking my design and I am resizing my resized design, which is usually a no-no, because that's in other software programs, that's a no-no. And the reason is because the way that other software programs work is that it doesn't remember the original size of the design. In the Embrilliance software, when you save your working file, it knows the original size. So you can always go back to the original size, and that's where it resizes it from. Now, when you have a design, and say, let me put this back in my center of my hoop here, and you have it in a specific location, and you want it to resize from center out, so that it doesn't, you don't have to, because normally when you grab a corner and you make it larger or smaller, you have to move it someplace else to get it recentered in the hoop. If you hold down the shift key on your keyboard and now drag a corner, it resizes from center out so that it stays in the same place and allows you to not have to reposition it. This is a great way that I like to make my center letter of my monograms just a little bit bigger. I customize them, or maybe I'll make it a little bit smaller or whatever. But when you just want to make the center letter larger without having to make it larger, then move it, then whatever, using the shift key as you resize a corner, that allows you to resize from center out. Now, if you've noticed on the bottom toolbar here, where it says the number of stitches, this has been changing. And it changes as we go, because when you resize in Embrilliance, it recalculates the stitches automatically. So you don't have to worry about, applying or generating or did it resize. It just does, because that's normally what we want it to do. Now, sometimes when you resize or you have a design that is a certain size and it's a little bit too dense, and we've all done have those designs, and you have the ability to make it a little bit bigger. If you hold down the control key, and I'm going to give you a heads up, so nobody repeat that, because I'm going to give you a tip in a minute. If you hold down the control key when you resize, the number of stitches does not change. Now, what that means, that's like the old-fashioned stitch processor, meaning that the same number of stitches are now going to be in the little bit larger design, so they're a little bit further apart from each other. So this will make less of a thunky noise. Now, I said I was going to give you a tip. On the Embrilliance YouTube channel, on the Essentials playlist, you'll find the resize video, and that gives you all of the keyboard keys and all of the sizing techniques and how to resize. It's all done, so you can now watch that and just take your notes, and you don't have to worry about me repeating the information again. Okay, I'm looking at, why do I have people crying? I'm looking at my comments here. Somebody's sad. I'm sorry. Did I lose everybody? You guys are quiet. I don't want to be talking to myself, guys. Well, I guess I'll just keep going in case we're getting traffic jam or something, and you'll just have to watch the replay later. All right, so I'm going to be done with this tulip, so I'm going to close him out. Don't save my changes because I don't want to keep any of that. But I want to show you, oh, now I'm getting some thumbs up, so someone's here. Okay, yay, thank you guys. I just wasn't, the funny thing is, I'm sitting here talking to myself and blah, 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 blah. And when I teach in person, I can see the class and I can see if people's, I put everybody to sleep, but here I'm just, hopefully this is making sense, guys. Okay, so I got my, all right, made it in time to see me live. Oh, hi, Suzanne. Good to see you here. Okay, you're listening intently, you're concentrating, and you're all behaving. Well, Christine, I'm glad you're behaving. All right. Okay, and the sound is great now. Fabulous. Well, that's maybe because I'm right near the microphone. I don't know. Okay, so I have my design. What was I going to talk about? I did the tulips. You're absorbing the info. Well, that's fabulous. Oh, okay. That's this guy. There's this guy and this guy. Okay. We'll switch into the gears for this. All right. Here we got this butterfly. Now, you'll also hear some people talk about native formats. And when you resize, you should be resizing the native format. What that really means, and this is like native formats, these are designs that you've digitized yourself, or you've been provided the native format of the software, that the software uses, the object format. Now, if you go to the Embrilliance website and go to the project blog, you'll find every month we give away free designs, and we always give our native working file object format. These files can be resized, and even though Essentials resizes with a stitch reprocessor, when you resize a native format, you get a little bit different results. For example, I digitized this butterfly. It was part of a Creative Machine Embroidery magazine project that was there. So this is if I go into Stitch Artist, you actually can see I have the stitch properties of this design. So it has applique settings because I digitized this. This version right here, so this is the BE object file. So this would be the same thing as if you were to go to the project blog and download any of those BE files. Let me open or merge in the stitch file to this. So that would be my butterfly Pez file. And click import. So now we have two designs that kind of look exactly the same, except the second one has two colors only. The first one has an applique object, which has its colors in it, because it's a digitized object, and then it has the run stitch for this one, and this is all the digitizing objects. But the stitch file, I can't make any changes to it. So if I wanted to do this as an applique and create a cut file of this shape, we do this, and there's the quick tip video number 6 that shows how to do this. You click on the applique tab. I'm going to tell it this is my position, and so show my simulated fabric so it looks the same. These two files look identical, but the one on the right, which is my object, my BE working file that I digitized myself, or that you could download a similar BE file from the Embrilliance project blog, this one has superpowers. So what do I mean? Let me go and take this applique design with the blanket stitch around it, and I'm going to make it bigger. I'm going to hold down my shift key so it resizes right in place. So I make it larger, release my mouse button, and can you see that the blanket stitches are still the same distance, but they didn't change at all. Let me click on this guy. He's my working file, my object-based version of this design. And again, I'm going to hold down my shift key so it resizes center out, drag it bigger, let go of my mouse button. Can you see what happened between can you see the difference? Let me just move him here. I mean, let me make him a little bit bigger. Whoopsie. So that he's right on top of the other one. Can you see the blue one behind it, how there's more stitches because there's more of a pattern fill? That's because the BE working file has superpowers because I digitized it. So when I resized that object, it took whatever setting I had from my stitch artist and made it bigger. So when you hear people on the internet say that you should only resize objects files, this is what they're talking about. But not everyone digitizes, and not everybody gives away their object files. So you just have to be aware that there is a difference. It's not bad, it's not horrible, but making this butterfly, the green one, which is my stitch file, which is a Pez file, making that one bigger, I have to use my noggin here and say, okay, it's going to make the distance in between these bigger because that's the law. It doesn't know that that's supposed to be a little blankety stitchy type thing going around it. Okay. The software can't add more patterns to it. The same thing happens with like motif fills. So let me go and do the same thing. We're going to go to a new design. I'm going to open up my cross stitch gnome. And there he is. And let me just make sure I got rid of the graphic because that caused me problems earlier. Okay. So again, so here's a BE file. This little gnome, I digitized myself, and he has a little cross stitch pattern. You see, he's made these little crosses. Okay, so if I go and I take him and I resize him, because it's a BE file, it adds more crosses. But if I merge in a stitch file, and this is why it's good to rehearse with yourself what's the difference between a stitch file and a working file. So this is basically the same design, but it's just stitches. And if I make this bigger, okay, I can make this guy bigger too. Okay, can you see the difference between the two? The one on the right, this is the BE file that I digitized myself. I have the object information. So the software knows when you make those objects bigger, you take the properties, you assign them, and flood fill those areas with those stitches. The one on the left, this is a stitch file. And the software doesn't know that that's supposed to be a pattern fill of X's or a motif fill of X's. It doesn't have objects to flood fill. So all it does is make X's bigger. So you get a different look. But that also tells you that if you have a stitch file with a motif fill and you make it bigger or smaller, just be aware that this is what's going to happen and accept it. What can you do if you really wanted it this big? Well, maybe I'd stitch it twice on top of each other, same colors twice, because their X's are going to be huge, so it needs more threads covering it. Maybe use a 30 weight thread as opposed to the traditional 40 weight thread so that it gets a little more oof fill. Does that make sense, guys? We see some, these days you don't really see a lot of pattern fills, motifs around, but they are available. And you just need to know that, yes, they can be resized, but they have to make adjustments for whatever it is that you're doing. Okay, I'm getting thumbs up. You guys you're picking up what I'm putting down, I hope. So basically, applique, freestanding lace, motif fills. Can they be resized? Yes, but you need to accept whatever changes could happen. Okay? They'll definitely do a test sew with those because it's starting to snow. Squirrel. Sorry, I'm looking outside my window and I have snowflakes coming down. It's like almost May and I have snow. Great. Now I lost my track of it. Okay. Specialty designs, freestanding lace, applique, cross stitch or other motify fill type things that are not just regular fill stitches. Resizing those, I would definitely do a test sew and store that information, make notes, figure out what you did. If it doesn't work, don't do that again. If it does work, now you know what it is. The other thing with the satins, the applique I showed you was a blanket stitch, so it's kind of like a motif. Satins, you just want to make sure that you're not resizing it too far beyond that satin width, otherwise you get that weird dimple in it, or you'll get jump stitches, or just too fat. It's just going to take forever to sew. Okay, yeah, it's snowing in where Nancy is. She's in Nebraska. Michelle, so if you digitize a lace shape, could you resize it if it was a BE file? Yes, of course. If you have whatever you digitize, if you digitized it in Stitch Artist and you have the BE file, absolutely. You can resize your lace designs because the properties are repopulated in the program. That's the beauty of a BE file. I'm trying to think. Oh, there's a freestanding lace design. Well, it's not freestanding lace, but it's a lacy-ish type design that you can get from, it was the March design on the Embrilliance blog, and you can take that and make it bigger, smaller. Let's see. Does this work the same with fonts? Well, the function of resizing works the same with fonts. Didn't I talk about fonts the other day? First of all, there's different types of fonts now. I don't know. Have you guys been paying attention to the Embrilliance website and the Facebook page and you've been watching my live videos to find out how fonts are evolving and becoming wicked cool in Embrilliance? There is a beta update. You can get the current version. It's for Essentials. The whole platform is being updated. All of the built-in fonts have been redigitized. So they have the nearest connecting point, and you have the ability on built-in fonts so that you can make all sorts of adjustments to them, and they are scalable or resizable, change the underlay, blah, 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 blah. So all the Essentials fonts, built-in fonts, you have complete control over them. Now with BX fonts, the ones that we get currently, which we call expanded BX. And the reason we call them expanded BX is because they're basically stitch files. Okay? Stitch files are mapped to a keyboard. Is that bad? Hell no. I love BX fonts. I got over 7,600 BX fonts installed on my computer upstairs. Don't tell me they're bad. They're just different. We've been buying alphabet designs for years. Okay? The problem with alphabet designs when we bought them before BX was, in order to use them, we had to merge stitch file and merge each individual letter and line them all up. And then you were like, oh darn, it's too big. So I got to go and do it all over again. We've been buying the alphabets. We were using them. We were happy as clams with them. What the BX format did for us was that it allowed the digitizers that we were buying from anyway to now map their alphabets to a keyboard so we can type with them. Now, when you get a BX font, they have a needle next to them. Which one are these? Oh, these are 6 inches. These are gargantuan, so we're not going to choose that one. But here's a Linny Penny. I love Linny Penny fonts. They're just so pretty. Here's maybe we'll do a small one here. Okay, this is a BX stitch file. Okay, so if I wanted to type in use this normally, I'd have to bring in the A, bring in the B, bring in the C. blah, blah, blah. I can't just type something like Lisa, say, oh, can I make it a little bit bigger? And just keep using it. This is the beauty of the BX fonts. Oh, why is it not changing my size? That should be 100. Boom. Boom. That's the beauty of the BX fonts, is that you can always just, you choose a font from a pull down list and it shows up. I love BX. I love the stitch face. Now, level 3 Stitch Artist is in beta, and it's ready for you guys to go. Anyone who has Stitch Artist 3, you can now download and the latest beta update so that you can digitize your own fonts, and they will show up in the list when you map them in without the needle. So they act like, this is mine here, one I did, Executype, and it works just like a built-in font, in that when I resize it and I go over the maximum size limit, it will automatically change to a fill stitch. Okay? So, this is changing, because anyone that is a digitizer that digitized with Stitch Artist 3 that's currently saving all their files and creating stitch-based BX are now going to publish their BX files as object-based fonts and go from there. Chris, why are you waiting for it not to be in beta? I've been running in alpha for months. It's so stable. I was talking with Brian this afternoon because we're wondering, okay, how far along are we in the beta? And the problems that are being reported by everyone running the beta are basically, I don't want to say user errors, but they aren't familiar with the tools yet, so they don't know what they're doing. Though that's the problems that the people are having. There's nothing wrong. Don't trust the beta. Well, you haven't tested. I'm just joking. I'm harassed. I'm just being, I get it. I did software support for many years. I get it. But, I will tell you that when we say beta, it's well tested. This is probably the most stable update I've seen in the embroidery world, and I've been doing this for over 20 years. So maybe you'll try it. When you work with a small company that does their own testing and that does their own, tech support, when they release something, it's gotta be good, because otherwise the poor guys in tech support answering the questions are gonna be miserable. So, yes, Wendy, you'll have to wait for the DG guys to, they do their own beta testing and to get their version up. So I don't know when that's going to be. So, hopefully soon. Hopefully soon. What is the link to the beta? Fran, it's on the Embrilliance Facebook page, on the Stitch Artist page. I'll end the Embrilliance other page. I don't have it right here. I didn't copy it down to save it, so I'll have to get it later. So we've been, I just don't have it handy right now. But it's been posted on the pages. So you can easily find it. That's there. And I'll post it afterwards when I'm done. So, I would not be afraid of downloading the beta, simply because I think tech support's kind of bored right now. They haven't gotten any problems. So if you, we'd love to have it tested further by the masses. But like I said, most of the questions that have been coming into support about the new beta version have been, how do I do this? And why isn't it doing what I think it's supposed to do? Because they aren't sure what it's supposed to do. And that's only natural because it's a brand new thing. And I got completely sidetracked on what I was talking about. All because it started snowing. That's what happens. Let me just go see in my files. Maybe, did I cover all the files? I think I was almost done. I didn't really mean to talk about, not sure what that is. Desktop. Downloads, desktop. Resizing. I did the butterfly. I did this guy. Yep, we're done. Okay. Oh, you're seeing friends from all your embroidery groups here. Lettering and essay. Yeah, I wasn't going to talk about lettering and essay. That's Monday. The worst part of the beta is it's addicting. I know. There's so many new Easter eggs in that cool beta that he gave. It's just it's a huge update. I was actually, based upon my experience working in support and for other software companies, they would have held back this update and made a new program or added as an upgrade. So I'm very happy to be working with Brian and the guys at Embrilliance, because guys and girls at Embrilliance, there's more than just guys there, because the free stuff, even on all platforms, is just absolutely fabulous. Oh, you guys are looking at something weird over there. Here's my screen. It's pretty darn fabulous. Any other questions? The worst part of the beta? Oh, sorry, Shai. I saw you posted and I thought it was something new. What is a beta? It's a pre-update release. Okay, when an update has been tested, or on the Embrilliance website, there's a downloads link, and that's where the update can be found. That is where the most current version is. This was so big and so huge and so many features, they decided to create a beta version of the update, so that people that, if there was problems with it, like major problems, and sometimes that happens, especially when Microsoft does something bad. Ooh, that can cause problems. And we do a beta update just in case there is something wrong, so that beginners don't get their computer trashed. So we're at such a stable pace. I would say this week it's going to go to the update page. Okay, it's going to get out of beta and put on the update page, which means anybody who wants to get it can go get it. Anybody can get it now. All you have to do is get to the news section and go to the link for the update for the beta version. In order to install the update or the beta, okay, you download the file to your computer, close all your programs, double click on the downloaded file, run it, answer yes to all the questions that it asks you, and then reopen your program and your About screen. And on Mac, the About screen is under Embrilliance, About Embrilliance. It will tell you the version number that you're running, as well as the date of that update. Okay? On Windows, it's under the Help menu and choose About. Okay? Though that's where you know what your version is. So mine's at 1.6.1, and currently, as of right now, the update page, the downloads page, says 1.16, because that's the current stable one. It will eventually go to 1.161, and that should happen this week. Now, if you click on the check for update, that's not going to do diddly squat for you, okay? It has a reason. And the use of it, the check for update, is to make sure that those people that bought a CD version that is like old, because those people that you want a CD version, it's old as soon as you bought it, because it was probably burned a few months ago, up to a year ago, depending what dealer's selling it. So you get a CD version. So those people, when they install their program, and if they don't have internet, they go to check for update, it says, oh, you're like at 1.16132, which is like 2-3 years old. And then it will go and get the most stable version for your operating system. But it's not going to go and install the new features right away until they roll out the official update. And they usually wait maybe a month before the update is on the downloads page. So the check for update is not going to register the new version for at least a month. So don't bother with that. That's not cool, okay? Just, it has its purpose, but it's not how you get the new program. And even if it did work, if it says, oh, you need to install an update, you still got to close your program, go to the download page, download it, install an update. So just skip the whole check for update step. Okay. Nancy, you never had any yes or no questions. I don't recall if there are, but usually when you install something, it asks you questions. I don't know. And Chris is asking, does the beta have the Oz version as well? Okay. Yes. On the beta download page, there is the Oz version as well. Okay. You can also, if you already have the Oz version installed and you don't uninstall it, you can always just install the regular update. You don't have to wait for the Oz update. The purpose of the Oz update is because it has the extra features that the fonts and frames that your programs have with your serial numbers. So, but if as an update, you don't need to worry about that. But either way, there is an update for you on the beta page that says Oz update. Any other questions? My timer went off. I've been talking to myself for 45 minutes and answering your questions and having a blast. What? It's still snowing. I hate driving in the snow. Oh, hopefully it'll end by the morning, because I've got to get to Kentucky, and I saw a couple of people are going to see me in Kentucky. I can't wait. I've got a packed events of trade shows this month. Let's go over here. Whoopsie. I got the Everything Embroidery Market, and then where's my beer today? It's right here. I have my beer. I just haven't take a sip. I have a quilt market, which I'm just going for a couple days to see what's going on in the industry. And I'm not a quilter, but there are very few trade shows for us, and we have to. So I go to quilt market. They have a spring market and a fall, and then at the end of the month, I'll be in Houston. Now, those of you that are digitizing and you're looking for a hands-on digitizing class, Houston still has some spots open. Day 1 and 2 have been sold out for a while, but day 3, which is just Stitch Artist, is still spots available. So Michelle, you've got melted snow in Brisbane. And Pam wants me to come back to Florida. I know, it's the snow. I wanted to get my garden ready. And we went to the zoo instead. Those of you who are following my page, did you see the pictures I put that my husband posted? Wow, he loves to take photos. I take the photos of him and I with my selfie on my cell phone, but he does well on the camera. And as those of you that are from Australia, and you were here the other week, we are coming to Australia in November. I still have to get got to get the dates finalized yet. I don't know what's going on. I haven't seen them yet. But yes, he took the pictures of the zoo animals, and the one that's just the eyeball, you have to click on it and then zoom in on the eye, and you'll see me. I'm in the giraffe's eyeball. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. So anyway, that was just kind of fun. And if you want, you can like his page, and then you can see all the photos. He takes pictures in our backyard of the deer, the hawks, the whatever he finds. He loves the Mary Gal. Yes, the reflection was really cool. I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. He took one year. We had icicles forming on the trees outside, and I happened to go outside my pajamas it was Christmas time, and he got such a good picture of the drop that you could see me in the little drop in my pajamas. I'm like, we're not putting that on the internet. Well, I'll be coming close to Connecticut. I was in New Hampshire last year. I don't have any plans this year, but I'm not sure. I'm still working on it. I got so many things to do. I don't have enough hats, and I got more rejections from hotels this week, so I'm not sure. Do you have an archive video for sending designs to the jump drive? Absolutely. You're on the Embrilliance YouTube channel, on the Essentials playlist. The very first video is how to save a file to the USB. And if you scroll down a bit, there's one on how to save a JEF file to the USB. So the Embrilliance YouTube channel, the Essentials playlist, they have all the saving, how to do a Viking Designer 1 disc and a EXP Plus. I mean, it's basically the same using file save stitch file. For the Janome, the big thing that you have to worry about with the Janome, since it depends on what model you have, is that you save it to the correct folder. The JEF file has to go there, and only save the JEF file. No matter what machine you're working on, when you're saving to that USB stick, the law The law is that when you put your USB in and you're looking at your design from Essentials or the Embrilliance platform, you go to File, Save Stitch File As. Okay, so you're saving the stitch file to the USB stick. Okay, you're not doing a save as because that will save the working file, which is what you work on in Embrilliance, and it also saves the stitch file. But the BE working file causes some craziness with the embroidery machine because the embroidery machine doesn't know what to do with it. All the embroidery machine wants is stitch files. And just to let you guys know, in case you haven't heard me say this in a while, my USB stick is an Uber. It takes the design from the computer and puts it in the machine, and then it gets deleted off the USB. I don't save it to the USB because I can't find it on the USB afterwards. Okay? Nancy says the EMB folder for Janome. Well, it depends what your Janome you have, because then it could be an EMBF, it could be in my design. I mean, I don't remember. I always have to go and look up in my manual because it tells me what machine it has in. But my USB is an Uber. It takes one design, two designs, maybe 3, 4, depending if I'm going to be doing them back to back to back to back. But it's just basically a transportation unit. And once it's off of that, once I'm done with it, I don't need it on that USB anymore. So delete it. Some of the machines, I mean, I love my PE770. Oh my God, what a fabulous machine. It's got 5x7 hoop, which is like my most favorite hoop to use. It just stitches. I have my colors all lined up, but I can't see what's on the screen at all. I can't tell what these blobs are. So why would I want more than one on there? So it's an Uber. Okay. So the only thing you put in the Uber is the stitch file. So the only thing you save, and that's why they have so many different saving options. When you're saving to go to the embroidery machine, it's save stitch file as, choose your USB, eject your USB, put it in the machine, go back to Essentials and do whatever this needs. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, guys. I gotta walk the dogs. It's still snowing. I will see you guys next Monday, hopefully. USB as an Uber helps. Excellent. I know. Oh, and just to let you know, I don't back up my stuff to a little tiny USB. I have a regular large USB drive, like a book type thing, terabytes, whatever, and then I do the cloud as well. But these little jump drives, I think they're so cheap these days that they don't put the technology in it, so I don't consider them to be reliable backup sources. That's just my 2 cents. And you didn't even have to pay 2 cents for it. All right, guys. I'm off to Kentucky tomorrow. Gotta walk the dogs now. And hopefully I will be able to schedule another live for next Monday. See you then.